Hey there everybody. In this video we're going to be talking about creating our fingering chart and writing our note names for our first set of notes for the trumpet. Before we start drawing anything, I want you to take a note that we are having our note names given to us. We're going to draw these notes as they appear in our music on a staff, and then we're going to fill out a fingering chart so that we know exactly which valves to depress when we want to play this note. For reference, 1 is going to be your pointer finger, 2 is going to be your middle finger, and 3 is going to be your ring finger. So we'll be all set. Well, it looks funky. You're going to need a pencil with lead and a working eraser. You will always make mistakes, so you always need a way to correct them. Pens don't allow you to correct them, so we got to have pencils. All right, let's kick it off. First note we're going to learn is our high C. If you want to, you can just write high next to it. All right, this is our highest note that we'll learn at first. To draw high C, we're going to need to start with a treble clef. We're going to draw a line straight from the top of the staff all the way down to the bottom, a little bit above the staff. And then we're going to take a curved line all the way down to the second line. Looks like the letter P. We're going to continue that to curve around the bottom, loop up, loop down, and end on this middle line right here with our finishing touch being a tail on the bottom. The treble clef is important because it tells us exactly which notes we are playing. There's 2 other clefs, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So our high C is going to be on the 3rd space from the bottom. So what we need to do is count 1, 2, 3. Fill that guy in. Super important when you're drawing notes in spaces. Make sure that they touch the line above and below, but don't go over it. If you went over it, it's not going to be exact. You want to know exactly which note you are drawing on, or else nobody else can read your music. Boom. The fingering for high C is this. No valves are being pressed down. It's open. So you can either just do nothing, or you can draw a little O next to it for open. All right, next we're going to go to B. We're going to need our treble clef again. Don't worry about getting these treble clefs perfect the first time. You can always erase them and redo them. We want to get them nice and neat no matter how long it takes. Over time, when you draw enough, you'll get good at them. B is going to be the 3rd line from the bottom, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3. Fill that puppy in. A nice whole note, a round open circle that doesn't touch the line above or the line below because it's on a line. We want to be very specific. And to play our B, we're going to need to depress our 2nd valve. So go ahead, shade in that 2nd valve. That means when we go to play high B or regular B like this, either or, we're going to need to do 2nd valve and hit it. All right. Next note is A. We're going to need another treble clef. We are going to need to draw this on the 2nd space from the bottom. So we are going 1 space, 2 space. Make sure that's nice and neat in there. And then for A, we are going to need to press the 1st and 2nd valve. So go ahead. Start coloring that in. Be sure to fill these in completely and color inside the lines because these are important. When you ask me how you play an A, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to ask you to look back at your fingering chart and tell yourself. And since you have this all filled out, you won't even need to think. 1st valve, 2nd valve. Awesome. Next, you guessed it, another treble clef. All right, don't worry about going fast. I've written a million of these, so I know how to do them really quickly. Work on getting them perfect. Okay? Practice makes perfect, but slow practice makes it easier. Do slow. G is going to be the 2nd line from the bottom. So we are going 1, 2, filling out a G. I don't like that guy. He dips too low to the bottom, so I'm going to erase him. Much better. All right, for G, we have another open note. So you can go ahead and write an O next to it for open. Our next note, F. Another treble clef. So the trombone, tuba, and some baritones are the instruments that use the treble clef. The trumpet, the clarinet, the saxophone, the flute, we all use the treble clef. Did I say that wrong? Tuba, trombone, baritone, they use the bass clef. Oops. All right, so F is going to be in the bottom space. So we're going to look right here, and we're going to draw that puppy in there. After we've done that, we need just our first valve down for F. All right. So we have our next note, E, a treble clef. See, you've already done 6 of them, so you should be getting pretty good at them by now. E is going to be the very bottom line on the staff, so we're going to draw it right here. Being careful to be neat. E takes first and second valve, so we're going to go ahead and color those in. All right, our next set of note, just one note, is D. After a nice treble clef, D is going to go below the staff. It is going to exist right below. Look at this. So D is below the staff, but he just touches that top line. He's not floating off at infinity. He is right there. Okay? D is important because the fingering is 1 and 3. So we're going to fill in that first valve. Being careful to stay in the lines. And 3. Perfect. Our final note, C, our low C, is going to be below even D. So we're going to need to do something special. We're going to need to add a line below. And it's not a full line. It's a short little line. Looks exactly like this. The same kind of space between the other lines. And it's called, we'll draw a little arrow. You can write this in if you want. A ledger line. Ledgerline. It's when we add a line so we can go lower or higher. So C is going to exist right on that line, just as if it were a real line on the staff. We want to make sure that that line goes all the way through and passes through that C. So extend it if you have to. All right. And C is also going to be an open note. You notice we have 3 open notes, C, G, and high C, and that's correct. In order to change our pitch from here to there, we need to adjust our embouchure, and we'll talk about that in another lesson. All right, but for now, make sure you have all of your note names, all of your positions on the staff, and all of your fingerings. Make sure your name is on top. Keep this in your folder. And keep practicing. I will see you guys at lessons.